is the investigation cycle following the traces of revolution. Film first, February the 2nd, Collapse. Our guests are Anastasia Stanko and Angelina Kariakina, the authors of this film, that will tell us about the film first, Collapse. That is the first part of the investigation cycle. That consists of 5 cycles, and they will be on TV. Dear speakers, the floor is yours. And only one request for you, please don't be in a hurry, because we have conference interpreted to English. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Anastasia Stanko. I'm a journalist of Gromadske. That is a product of Gromadske TV. Also, this film was showed on the Persian National channel. We also plan all the parts of this cycle following the traces of revolution. But about events that happened, we all know what happened, because all of us witnesses these events. But in 2 years after this revolution, what's going on now, how investigation is going on, that is of huge interest for the society, but also the life of all the participants of the event after it happened. Angelina, for example, is dealing with the Syria what happened to Berkut unit. Also, there are interesting episodes about Titushkas, for example, or one more series about Kharkiv meeting on the 24th in Kharkiv. What kind of meeting was it? What was the consequences of this meeting? And what happened to these people? But a lot of them are fine. But talking about this movie, Collapse, about the massacre of 20th of February, I can't call it scandalous, but it was discussed a lot. It's still in the discussion. But I would like to tell you about our motivation from the very beginning, how this cycle following the traces of revolution started. Because from the very beginning we had the idea to show how Special Investigation Department of the Prosecutor Office is working, because there are a lot of investigators from 6,000 cases, from 6,000 of participants of this event that suffered, the witnesses of different cases. We just wanted to show how investigators are working, what are their conditions, because they have old computers, they don't have a lab. They don't know how to process the proofs. But when we talk to them, when we went to their offices, we understand that this story is much more wide, that we need to tell it in different way, about some black spots we didn't know about before. We could call them conspirology versions, for example. And how did we come to that story when we told about the killed law enforcement officers in this film? Because in one of the offices there were investigators who were investigating the massacre of the law enforcement people, and there were episodes about killed and wounded officers. And we had a thought from the very beginning that from this story, from the wounded officers, we can know what happened, because nobody witnesses from the law enforcement departments. And we thought that maybe at least wounded people, victims, so that can tell us about it. And we started investigating and studying that, and we found our heroes, and we found out there were people who showed also from the side of Maidan. Good afternoon. My name is Angelina Kariakina. I'm also a journalist of Gromadske. I'm also the author of this cycle of films. We will tell you later in details about it, but I would like to explain why this day, why this episode with shooting from Maidan side. And why law enforcement officers are so important for that? We were based on the fact that the part of the events happened at Institutska was filmed so thoroughly by the journalists, by the cameras. There were even online streams. We know the names of people who died. We even know how these people died by seconds. The weapons, for the number of the weapons they were killed from. And for us, the only part we couldn't understand was the morning of the 20th of February. Why exactly law enforcement officers left Maidan? But I wanted to say that the very important part of this movie is prologue, and in this part we are trying to point out the 20th of February and the morning of the 20th of February was not possible to take out of the context of all 3 months of Maidan events. And in the prologue, you can see that what a kind of turning point of these street rallies. And first of all, it happened because of the aggression from the state, because of the laws of 19th of January. There were much more lines in this prologue, but these are the key elements of the prologue. And I wanted to point out that because people are telling us why you're talking about 20th of February but didn't tell about the blood events of the previous days. We also deal with these events, but it's pointed out in the morning that 30 protesters were died by the morning of the 20th of February. Some of them died even in January. And state manipulations who started the first, everything is clear for everybody because facts are obvious. And that's why for us it was important to talk to law enforcement structures. And here maybe the most interesting part of our job started because it was very complicated communication. I would say that people were fine talking to us, but they were very surprised that somebody is interested by their existence, by their opinion, their version of the events, and the fact that they were ready to talk. But any of them, and we will talk for more than 10 people, and there were representatives of Berkut unit, the representatives of internal armed forces, the employees of the other units of internal affairs, former and actual. Any of them didn't want to talk to us on camera. Changing the names, changing the voices, they didn't agree. We didn't have any communication on camera, and we thought that that's also important thing, and it tells us that it's not just there is no trust from the side of law enforcement officers to the journalists. Of course, it's just a part of the problem. It's a part of the arguments, but at the same time, it says that they, as well as us journalists, can't see some colossal big changes in law enforcement structure. They are not sure where is the light, where is the dark side of the structure, and they're afraid by telling the truth they might risk something. That is a very important part of the process, and that's why I would like to point your attention to it. But believe what we see, many of them tell that in some time we will understand where country is moving, and maybe they will be ready to talk. We also hope they will be ready to talk later. At least we are ready to listen to them. And Nastya, we can show you the part of the movie because we are talking about this hero Ivan Bubenchik. Everybody knows him already. On the 20th of February 2014, activists of Maidan and law enforcement officers lost all the power already for the 3 months of protests. Opposition activities was beyond the law, and in January, first protesters were killed. On the 19th of February, there were 30 victims already. On the breakdown of the 20th of February, conservatorium failed. There are students of the stage manager faculty, they are future stage managers. You have just one person among you? Just one male? I want to be this male. We just wanted to show you one of the main heroes of this movie, Ivan Bubenchik. In spring, the time they started shooting from the barricade from the Institutskaya on the streets. I started learning Maidan for myself to understand how to solve this situation when the trade union were destroyed, the time where we got food, heat, some sleep, toilet, medicine, but they just burned it out, and I understood that their tactics works against us and we are losing. Also, I had the possibility to watch from conservatory the back side of the wall where Berkut was standing, and I could see clearly their orders. I could see how the people attack uninterruptedly our barricade. And our leaders, they just left us. And being in the conservatory, I kept on praying. I was standing on the stairs. We had God there. And the guy was coming up to me, and he had a bag on his back. Usually they use these bags for tennis. And he opened that bag, and I could see rifles there. And I thought, why there was just one rifle, because I was asking for 20. But at the same time, being experienced, I was thankful even for that. Just one gun? Okay, it's fine. Ivan Bubenchik, 46 years old, Lviv citizens, so had service in army. And to make this effect from ears to mouth, the 5 commanders needed to be killed. I took decision for myself that only 2 commanders should be killed. That's Ivan Bubenchik. The person is talked widely by law enforcement officers and protesters of any kind, and activists as well who remember Maidan. Journalists are talking about him as well. That is the hero of our movie. Maybe we need to explain who is he, because we are told from where did you take this hero. He's not accidental character in our movie. He has a story behind him. He was a Maidan activist. He was one of the 100 of Maidan, number 9. And later he went home to Lviv, and he could see only on TV what happened on the 18th of February. 19th of February he came back to Kyiv, but he didn't join his 100 unit. But it is proven that he was in the unit. Later he joined Dnipro 1 battalion, and it's also proven fact from the commander of this battalion as well. He even was in Donetsk airport. He was fighting. Other people who were in Donetsk airport at that time remember him, and he remembers the story that he was shooting from conservatorium on the 20th of February, and he had interview on one of the TV channels in November, and on BBC as well. He's a key character of one of the movies. We can't be sure because the face is hidden in that movie. But at least that's what Ivan told us. I hope our colleagues can prove it or prove it's not true. Also, he made
рибальство. От він тут
He is now a volunteer. He trains children to fish. He is also a character in one documentary, Project Babylon. He comes to Lviv Oblast Village Council, where he told that he would like to rent some lake for fish, and so he is not a fake person, he is a real person. You can also see how he was in ATO at the strongholds. He was shot by documentary filmmakers. Well, we have proof that he is a real, not fake person. Ivan Bubenchik, he was present at the Conservatoire building, and that he shot. Whether he killed someone or he did not, if a person did something, it doesn't say that he did something. It is not the fact that he really killed someone. This is just his words. The investigation demonstrated that two law enforcement officers were killed on February 20th. Yes, near Stella Monument at Maidan, there were 2 persons who died. And it was just between 8 to 8:20 that they were killed either by Kalashnikov machine gun bullets or Saigak bullets. Talking about Ivan, he told he is not going to meet the General Prosecutor's office because he does not believe them. Parasyuk said that these people can be called marginals, and now we can say that there are such comments now. It is important to say that the article from Bird and Fly, its title, I have killed them. This is true. Killed them from back to the back. Those 2 persons were not killed into the back. One of them was killed into his legs, the other was killed into the heart, and one of them was killed from into the forehead. And from the other angle, which is not near the trade union's house, from some other types of armor, weaponry. It is caliber at 8.05. Again, even if one states that he injured or killed someone, this information anyway should be checked. He can't say for sure where the bullet hit. This is information for investigators. I would like to show a small video cut to show law enforcement officers who died. They were killed. There were 4 of them that morning. And we have cuts in our film where these men are present, died men. Сергій Сліпчак, Запоріжжя 35, Володимир Зубко, senior sergeant in militia, Berkut unit, Chernigiv, 29 years old. Further, we would like to pass to the case study of Sergei Trapazun. I don't understand quite for sure. He seems to me important person. He survived by miracle at Institutska Street, and his story is the story of Ivan Bubenchik was very important, but Sergei's story is also expressing it, provides very thrilling impressions how he climbed Institutska Street. Of course, it will cause emotions. Story of Sergei Trapezun, a person who was in Khmelnytska hundreds. He came on February 19th to Maidan Square. He remembers how he was injured and how 3 or 5 persons around him were killed. This is the story how this person tells that he was not armed. His wife tried to collect all kinds of video materials for the day, and one can see how he was shot, how he lifts his hand up, but still someone shoots at him and several people die. Roman Veronitsa including. These events could hardly be understood because one can see that these people have no weaponry. Why Berkut soldiers fired, it can hardly be understandable. He had a bag on his shoulders, on his back. He thought that rucksack on his back will protect him from some hits if police will beat him. Titik came to me and we started to pull and bring one guy who was still alive between the tree and the flower bed, and then we heard shots again, and I felt that something hit me into the legs, and I fell down. Here we can see how he fell. This was him. Just several seconds, but I still remembered all my life. I remembered my wife, how he asked me not to go, and I work a teacher, and also I felt that that much blood, that I'm bleeding from my leg, and I lift up my hand and I see that someone is killed. His surname was Varenitsa. I didn't know that time his surname. And then another person was killed. Guys, we have enjoyed people here. We need help. You can see Roman Gorik with a white helmet on his head. One guy fell. The bullet hit him into the belly. All that was told in the first part of the story, the scenes which happened later, they can't be explained but by any provocations on the part of Maidan volunteers, activists. You can see now the statements by one head of Berkut unit. We saw that people climbing up Institutska Street, they had no weapons. Although now we will listen to the cuts of the head of Berkut units, he is telling that some people bringing weaponry, they were climbing Institutska Street. The actions of special detachment by Roman Psyuk, the prosecutor, he is saying about a specific person, Mykola Zybulski, who received 2 big bullets from different weaponry, and the person fell down, and this fact can't be explained by any kind of self-defense. Why Berkut unit soldiers did that? Even if law enforcement officers saw some danger, they should have eliminated the danger if they see some person who bears weapons, but not to kill him, but just to enjoy him, and not to kill intentionally unarmed persons. We can see how 4 persons were killed within several seconds. The investigation established when they were killed, what weapon was used, and from what angle the bullets came. All those persons now reside in the Russian Federation. They hide there. Although 2 persons went to Poland, some persons are in Crimea and some people are in DPR and LPR. 5 persons are in jail, including the deputy commander of regiment, Yanishevsky. He is believed the only one in camouflage uniform who was firing with bursts, not individual shots. This our video, of course, caused discussions. We do not say that our video is the only truth, but in one series about February 20th, it is not enough scope to tell people about all the things which happened there. And what about Hotel Ukraine and the trees and the rifle of Pashinsky and the injured medician Olesya nurse near Ladsky Gate, whether someone shot from Kazatsky hotel. We did not ask, we didn't raise those issues. Some facts we articulated in the video. The law enforcement officers 1 year ago told the Russian that the fire was by Russian special service units. This version has not been proved. Almost all people have been established. Their personalities have been identified who were in the center of Kiev in the governmental block of buildings. As concerned Ukraine hotel, the question remains unanswered. It is still open. From the investigation, we know that there are no injured persons who received bullets from Ukraine hotel. There is some interesting information which we are still checking, but out of those persons who were killed at Institutska Street, we do not have information from experts, forensic experts, that this version could be proved. The information is in the process of checking. There is a version that the bullet was from the entry to Hrishatik underground station. Who can bear that weapon? How the bullet went? We have only the working version, and we can't comment on it.
Sniper gun of Pashinsky, and it was proved that many times it wasn't used. Experts told that any shot was made from this gun, but that's what we are talking about, 18th of February. But still, maybe it's funny, but we found that man without head, but this man is alive. He was wounded. He had a wound in his head, really, but he is alive, and you can talk to him if you want. He's more or less fine. And to finish the topic, we, not as journalists, but also as citizens, we know that on the 1st of March, State Investigation Bureau should work, but we understand that that there is nothing at all except for the law. Even the commission wasn't selected yet. who should work. And we understand that the work of the investigation will be stopped completely. What does it mean? Briefly, we can't make investigation experiments, inquiries. The investigators will not try to do it. There are not enough of them. They've got a lot of job to do. And also they promise them improved technical base all the time. But if their work will be stopped completely, there is a threat even that the lawyers of this special unit or the cases on other events that were in other days and some terrorist cases. For some time, all these cases will be hanged. And we don't know how it might finish for those people who are under investigation and the inquiry. We as journalists are worried about this very much. We would like to have some public discussion, or at least we would like to hear the ways and solutions from these situations. We would like to know how the investigation will go. And we are ready for your questions. Dear colleagues, dear journalists, if you have some questions, raise your hand. While you're thinking, I have one question from Ukraine Crisis Media Center. We would like to precise something. Really, this is our first time we could see Bubenchik. It was here, and the question is, how did it happen that there is one character in two movies, and we know there are 4 people? Who is the second, the third? Who else shot? Is there any other information about it? Because really, we know there were proved for death on the law enforcement structure side. About Bubenchik, why is he in 2 movies at the same time? These searches were independent. As far as I understand, Volodya was shooting a lot in Ato. He met Ivan somewhere. Ivan didn't hide the story from anybody. And he wanted to use it in his movie. He's not the main character there. And we found the story in other way. Because we started from prosecutor's side to look for the people who is investigating the cases with killed people. Then we were looking for a person who might it be. We knew there was amnesty law, and it complicated our search. Then looking for materials about Ivan. He became our main character, and we started searching for him just to check information as journalists. And we could see that he is in the trailer of other movie, and we knew that this movie will be on the screens on 18th of February. We wanted to show our movie on 20th of February, but we decided to do it in the same time as the first movie because we as a journalist we wanted to show it the first, but what to do? We didn't film it at the same time because Volodya found him in different place in different time, and that is well-known information that prosecutor's office also inquired one of the activists who published into his social networks that on 18th of February I killed 2 officers, but then he came with a lawyer and told I'm not going to comment it, and now we don't know anything about the story. In our search we saw people, we found people who had weaponry on 20th of February with hunting weapons, but they, the same as Ivan, didn't want to discuss it on camera. Maybe later they will want to do it. And their motivation is clear, they don't want to be punished. But who knows, will Ivan be punished or not, because there is amnesty law that makes everybody free from any responsibility. yes, it's important that this law exists. And maybe Bubenchik gives his evidence knowing about this law. And one more question about snipers. When I saw the movie, first question I had, because on the 20th of February I was in the Hotel Ukraine on the 8th floor, and I could hear the shot couple of floors above me. Of course, I can't tell who was a sniper or not. I know that for the all day long they were looking for the person who was shooting, and there were not people from Maidan. And for sure there was one more shot at 4:30 down. Some other person was killed. It also was sniper because it wasn't Berkut. Did you find some information about this? I'll start from the end. At 4:07 the last person killed. Here there is also video surveillance from the National Bank. There was a special unit. Then they had an order to return to their base. And the cameras on the National Bank show all of them with their back to camera. There were all these killed people next to Arcada. And at the same time, on the camera on National Bank, we can see that one person fell down from the shot. It wasn't proved by investigation so far, but there is such a fact. And the angle of shot is from that last concrete barricade. That's why this killed person was incriminated to special unit as well. 48 killed people, everybody who was killed on 20th of February. Special unit of Berkut, but they don't agree. But the distance is not big there, right? Kalashnikov gun can shoot from this distance, plus there were 2 snipers guns. It's established already. And also there were people there, but not from this special unit, from some other unit. But they were together with Berkut. And what is important here, lawyers of ex-Berkut say that there is no group responsibility, because there was some concrete killer and not 20 people from the unit. But that's a special unit, you know, somebody is shooting, somebody is covering him. That is a teamwork. And they wanted to kill, but they just wounded. It's not a team responsibility. But it's like participation in the crime. And also it was proved that from the gun of concrete person, bullet came to some other concrete person. But Zagurski, for example, he had 2 bullets inside him. It was established whose bullets from whose guns he had, and Berkut didn't hide that all of them had their name weapons, bullets, and from this weaponry they shot some concrete people, and it was established by the expertise. And about Hotel Ukraine, we talked to Igor Yankin, who had this number on the 11th floor, and maybe you could see BBC video. And he journalists, they didn't shoot, but this bullet, it came from above, and he told that this, and we know that there is a room of the former MP. He wasn't there in the room, or he left the room and he helped people downstairs, but when he was back, he didn't notice that somebody was in his room. and he says that the administration had spare key. But could somebody take this key or not, he doesn't know. But he doesn't feel that somebody could be there while he was absent. There are his words, but a lot of things were not established. And really there were some people with hunting weapons. But is it possible to kill somebody shooting from the 11th floor? It's not clear, but we need to check all these facts and the information we have for today. We need to check it. Also, we want to add that on the killed people and all this trace expertise 3D, all these checks on these 48 killed people, there is nobody who could kill from Hotel Ukraine. There were 106 wounded people I mean they had wounds from the shots. Thank you. We have one more question. Daria Chernus, Ukraine Crisis Media Center. I have two questions from our regional colleagues from Kherson Crisis, from Crisis Media Center in Kherson. They're asking how many films more are you planning to have, and your investigation will be just in film format, or maybe it will be some text format as well that we can read. And one more question from me. 2 years passed after Euromaidan, and still investigation is in process. Is there any deadline for the investigation, and why is it that long? About the films, as most of these materials are still in process, we are filming in parallel way with investigation, and due to the different reasons, our characters can deny to talk. At the same time, the cases are in courts now, and thousands of Maidan cases are under investigation, and there is a process on every concrete cases. Courts are changing, lawyers are changing, or prosecutor is changing, or there are more victims, because you can imagine how much time it takes to process 1,000 episodes. But we will have up to 5 movies, and it will be in multimedia content at Grombatska TV. There will be text, some separate videos, and it will be available in different multimedia formats. And again, there was ambitious aim to make interactive map reflective the movement and when there were people. But at the moment it's complicated from technical point of view, and we can't show everything for the moment. But still we have this ambitious aim. But we just can't tell you the deadline. Or when they say that you didn't start from the 18th of February, we would like to start from 18th of February, but it's not about the date. It's about what exactly do we want to show. And now I'm preparing material about ATO, but the Security Service of Ukraine is even more close structure than the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and anti-terroristic operation is more under security services, because there are some people under investigation. 2 of them are generals, and of course there is a work on the work with them, because the can't answer was ordered to start anti-terroristic operation, not because these documents were destroyed. And other episode about Titushkas, I also would like to tell about them, because there are a lot of people fragments cases there. It's so like a live body, but still there is an idea to make a movie about 18th of February in Kharkiv, and also we would like to make a movie about amnesty, because it's very important legal topic. And about investigation, why does it take so long? We are trying to go to the courts often, but now about special units, they are inquiring victims. There are parents, children, wives of the killed people, and they're still on the 30 persons. They need to inquire 18 persons more. They don't know what happened because they were at home. Everything they could tell about how their son was and how did she find out that he is not alive anymore and where he was found. Because that is a normal trial process, and after that the court will go to the witnesses, and there will be more witnesses than victims. It will last for 1 year more, and then there will be proof stage for a few months, maybe 6 months. So we need to be patient, because if you want to solve it in a legal way, because if you want to have all the proofs, if you want to have a solid ground, or we don't want it, because really it's a huge piece of work, we need to be ready for that.
Якось, але
On some episodes, of course, we could work better and we might finalize this work, especially episodes on law enforcement officers killed, but this is a huge amount of information, very many proofs, people, and we can't work fast due to objective reasons. There are no more questions. So thank you very much to our speakers. We hope to see next film